Hello and welcome to Talking Whisky. So we're back again for another podcast. My name is Grant and today I'm joined by...
Ryan.
See, we actually got the name right this time. So,
How many people get their own names wrong?
Paul in the last episode started off with I'm Stephen.
Okay then.
Okay, so with Ryan in this episode, that's gonna be basically completing the trilogy of who are gonna be the regular guests. So forward from this, we're gonna start by having more than one person here with me. So let us begin. Let's start off with the most important question: what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Balcones Texas Single Malt.
No, you're not. It's not in your hand.
I am drinking the Balcones Single Malt.
Yeah, see, this is the problem with inviting people over to my place. Not just for a podcast, just in general. Because they get free reign on my whiskey.
Yeah, but sometimes we forget what one he has. So
Because I went for the Iron Root Harbinger. Cask strength. Good luck getting a hold of this in this country nowadays.
I'm aware.
Because it's one of your favourites, is it not?
I think it is my favourite. I think it is my top one.
No!
And somehow I forgot that you had it when you asked me what I wanted.
I mean, I thought, how can I trump you pulling out one of my favourites, which is a Texas Single Malt?
Which is glorious.
Because that is always in my top three. But I thought, I'll pull out this one because I know you like this one.
Yeah. Good luck finding the bottle tomorrow.
What?
Nothing.
Well, if you want, you can have a wee sip.
Oh, I might do.
Give me one back. I need something to drink at the same time. No, give me the Texas Single Malt. I want some of the Texas Single Malt.
What? Sorry?
Give
What?
me some of the Texas Single Malt.
I really don't want to.
Just give me the fucking glass.
I don't remember which is which now.
It's alright, I know which it is.
Okay.
Oh.
It is good.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's really good, but I still prefer that.
I find it interesting that you prefer that.
I think it's got that real warmth to it that the single malt hasn't got. That
Yeah,
kind of...
because that is cask strength, and I think that's 54%. Flash up with a true percentage. I'll come back to that one. Whereas the oh no, Texas Single Malt's 53.
That 1% makes a difference then.
We're not even a couple minutes in, and I'm gonna have to go out of shot because I want to know. I'm coming back with the bottle though. So here we go. So here is the Iron Root Harbinger cask strength. It is quite a lot higher. 57.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, quite a lot higher. That might be why there's a bit more punch behind it. But also it's got the... You go.
Oh, okay. I stopped for you to talk, and I
sorry.
forgot.
I was going to say, I think it's got it's got this massive big punch of that kind of break the Texan heat brings, and it's similar to Balcones and that kind of real, almost burnt toffee-esque.
Oh yeah, you get that in all
kind of thing to it.
Well, almost all the Texan ones. But it's got that warmth, but it hasn't. It's like it's gearing up to kick you in the face, but it doesn't.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's what I love about the Harbinger. With all that burnt toffee.
I love how we've started with one and now we've switched. Good switch actually. We'll switch again. We'll do change places several times. But what I love about the Texas Single Malt is because they make it with Golden Promise, which was one that was used in. I think they're all Scotches. One that was used in Scotch mainly.
What is the Golden Promise?
It's a grain of barley.
Okay.
So it was one of the more popular ones used in Scotch. They've moved to a different one because it's now when you ferment it, you get a higher yield out of it, so you get a higher percentage out of it. But Balcones now use that as that. So my point I was trying to get to is you get this feel of a single malt Scotch with it. It does feel like a Speyside Scotch, but then you've got the big, beautiful, the molasses, the burnt toffee, those big, rich, punchy Balcones and then in general texts and notes that really come through. That's what I adore the single malt.
Yeah. And, well, you know my taste. I tend to stick to the American whiskies most of the time.
Do you know what? Actually, that was going to be... So we're going to stick to the I get asked a question, but I was going to try and change it and ask you a question.
Okay.
So this came up in the last episode where we mentioned you, and because you are a fan of your Scotch, and I said I think you're now leaning towards bourbons. So I wanted to ask you, what is now your preference, a Scotch or a bourbon?
So, for me, in most cases, I prefer a bourbon. So things like your Wild Turkey, Wild Turkey's nice. Maker's Mark as well for your kind of like not completely, special occasion whiskies.
Yeah, because I would say 46 is certainly
46
one of your
that's kind of like
regular.
my go-to daily. At the moment, I've got 1.5 litres of the Wild Turkey, so I haven't got any
regular
46.
or 101.
101.
Oof.
Yeah.
Where did you get 1.5 litre bottle from?
Well, no, I got a litre bottle, and then I went away on holiday with my partner's family, and I didn't bring it. And then we went to the shop to get some food, and I saw a 1/2 litre bottle.
And
I
you
thought,
just had to get it.
Yeah, because I needed some for the week we were away.
For emotional support.
Exactly.
I'm behind you on this.
Yeah, just don't show her the channel. Because she doesn't think I need emotional support with her and her family.
Emma, he doesn't mean it.
I don't need it.
I said mean it. He took it a step further with need.
Yeah.
Let's hope she doesn't watch this.
Yes.
I'm going to tell her to watch it now, purely for that.
You can.
She
Whether
just
she
won't.
will.
Good point.
Yeah, I'm the one who watches all the YouTube. She thinks I'm weird for watching YouTube all the time.
Oh, Christ, what's she think of me? I'm the one that makes it now.
Don't think she knows or thinks anything of you for making it.
Fair enough.
No. Funny thing though, so my partner, you guys don't know this yet, but she's a primary school teacher for children with special needs.
Oh, I don't know how she does it.
No.
Huge amount of respect.
Hats off to her for it. But I get a little bit of experiencing that. So last night, Emma talks on her sleep sometimes, because we've had those conversations.
Yes.
So
I also know Emma has the best teacher face ever.
She does. I couldn't see it because it was dark.
It's terrifying.
It was about 1:30 in the morning. I was just dozing off, and I hear her just start shouting, "No, stop it, Scooby, stop it!" As she Scooby.
Okay.
As she darts up and runs to the end of the bed. She's not very tall, so she can run across the bed.
I can vouch.
As she was shouting that for this kid to stop it, and then I grabbed her before she face planted off the bed. And at which point she told me that the kid was swearing?
Swearing?
Swear aloud? No? Yes? No?
What do you think?
Yes. Shitting on the floor.
It's not that bad.
In her dream. No.
Oh,
no. In her dream. So this was what she dreams about. About children shitting on the floor.
She thought about getting help. I think she might need it if that's what she's starting to dream about now.
Maybe?
Maybe she needs the whiskey.
Maybe she does.
I think that's the problem. Everything in life can be solved with whiskey.
Although she doesn't like whiskey.
Yes, she does.
Still not much.
We got her to like Glenfiddich and lemonade. Still counts.
Yeah, okay, with the lemonade. It's
That
okay,
still
yeah,
counts.
Yeah. I
Whiskey
think she'd
like
still
is the one
prefer
you
a
like
gin
the way
and
you like to
tonic.
drink. Okay, yeah, fair.
If there was no gin, then yeah,
Ooh,
she'll
do
take
you know
the
what I
whiskey.
think we might be able to win her over with?
What?
New make.
Oh. Have you got any?
I do actually.
I haven't had any.
I'll give it to you after. Well,
After I finish these, yeah.
nice try. Oh, we could give it a pour. Yeah, we could see how we get on. We could give
Why
it a
not?
pour out. Yeah.
I've never actually had it.
Oh, so the one I've got is this came up. This is the new make that came up in the first episode.
Yeah, I remember.
This is the So this is the one that's partially aged.
Okay.
So yeah, you could maybe Oh, we'll see how the episode pans out.
Okay.
Right.
We
Change
went off
places.
topic. Yeah.
Remember, I have editing powers. Thank you.
What are you going to do with your editing power? Notice how much lower that one is now.
Oh, you jammy git. Fair play.
So, we were talking about my bourbons. Then we got sidetracked by
yes.
shitting children.
As you do.
So, yeah, Maker's Mark, Wild Turkey, they're sort of my go-tos. I do still like a Scotch, and I brought one today.
Yes, you have. That's the Guess Whiskey spoiler alert.
But what I find with my Scotches, the ones that I really like, are either aged in bourbon or sherry casks.
Oh!
So you still get those richer, sweeter notes.
And you're still not a massive fan of the peat yet, are you?
I like it sometimes, but it's not my go-to. It's not my comfort area.
All right, after we finish this episode, you're definitely having a pour of that
Smokehead.
You'll like that.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Peat with a big punch of sherry behind it. Well, they call it the sherry bomb for a reason. But yeah. Yes, that one you'll like. You'll like that one.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So here's a question back to you. What? Don't say Maker's 46. We've already gone over that. What would you say would be, if you go to a bar, for example, what would be something you keep an eye out for and look for to go, right, that's the one I want?
Oddly enough, not a bourbon, Balcones. But I've never seen it in a bar.
You will never see it in a bar.
I know, so I'm always disappointed, but I still look out for it.
I've only ever found it in one bar in the UK so far that I've been to, and it's one in Bristol. It's called Woods.
Yeah.
They had Balcones there, and they had the Brimstone there.
Oh.
Yes.
The Brimstone. That was my first Balcones.
That was, and I'm surprised you liked it, because that really is one that will give you a spanking if you're not ready.
Yeah. That was the same night we tried you introduced me to the Eleanor as well.
Oh, yes, the Eleanor. Oh, Eleanor's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And the Harbinger.
Yeah.
We had a lot that night, actually.
Yeah.
We had a lot that night. Wasn't that the night? That was my first night moving in. Because we did...
No, I had it when...
Oh, we did it at a different night.
I had it at the Balcones and the Eleanor. You took it out at your dad's. It was after your first Texas trip, after you come back from your first Texas trip.
I remember now.
Years ago now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was years ago, yeah.
I think that was before the Harbinger, actually. Don't think you had it then.
No, I didn't. I bought the Harbinger afterwards. Because I bought the Harbinger after Paul and I had been.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So, going back to your question.
Yeah, what's the one you keep an eye out for?
So...
That you would order?
That tends to be a Glendronach. Because they're more commonly around, and you've got that sherry cask finish. And I find a lot of pubs, at least the ones I've been to, or bars, most of the bourbons they have are like they got Jim Beam, like Jim Beam and the other Jack Daniels. There we go. Yeah.
I tend to see Maker's Mark and Woodford crop up every so often.
Sometimes I see Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
Never the 46.
No,
no.
I don't think I've ever seen 46.
And I find whenever I drink
of a whiskey bar.
Yeah. When I drink the normal Maker's Mark, I just get a little bit disappointed it's not the 46. It's good.
The 46, yeah.
But the 46 is something special, especially considering it's not in like that top higher tier category.
No, and it's really not. What you think?
Pricing.
So what's Maker's on average is between 25 and 30? On average.
The normal one, yeah, and then
and 46.
the 46 is like 35 to 40,
yeah. Not that much more. It is a fair...
I picked it up for £31 before. From the supermarket, yeah. Where was it? It was Waitrose of all places.
No, you say that about Waitrose. Waitrose is really good for whiskey.
I know they keep a good selection, but I wouldn't expect the price to be that low.
No, I've seen a few good deals. Yeah. I've seen them do like really good deals on Ugadal and stuff. And that's typically a 70, 80 quid bowl. And I've seen it much lower than that. I've seen them do quite good deals in the past.
Yeah.
Waitrose, please sponsor me. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be my go-to.
Okay, but what about
commonly there?
So for me, my go-to with bourbons in a bar would be Woodford.
I have a bottle of Woodford. I do like it when I'm sipping it at home, but I don't know. You wouldn't order it. No, there's not as much depth to it as I would like. For a bourbon, in that case, a little bit shallow. In that case, it's an easy drinker. But I
don't have it, but if I find it or if you find it, try the double oak.
Okay.
They basically do. It's regular Woodford, but they double age it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good. That's got a bit more of the barrel punch to it. That is.
I'll have to try it. I don't think I have.
I've only had it once in a bar, and that was really good.
Okay.
That's interesting. How about for an old fashioned? What would you pick for an old fashioned?
Normally Woodford.
See, Woodford's my pick for an old fashioned.
Yeah, it works for an old fashioned.
Yep.
But I think if I'm just having it neat, I would rather a Glendronach than a Woodford. Most of the time.
Glendronach's one of my favourite distilleries.
I think Woodford doesn't have that sweetness that I like.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, okay. I see now, yeah, okay, I see now. Suddenly now this makes way more sense to me.
Yeah.
With your bourbon selections, because I thought you liked the punch in the bourbon.
I like a warm punch.
But even Harbinger's got a sweetness to it.
It's got that sweetness. That rich toffee sort of sweetness.
Yeah, okay, that now makes way more sense.
We're really going to confuse everyone when I bring up my guest whiskey. Because there is some elements there, but it's not any of what we're talking about for my favourites.
That's the whole idea of a guest whiskey. It comes along just to see what we're doing. It
surprised me. I bought it on a whim. I went to get coriander for our pet rabbits, and I came back with...
These rabbits eat better than you.
I know, right? I came...
Better than me.
I came back, I thought, well, I'm going to the shop anyway. So I went and had a peek at the whiskey section. I thought, I've never seen this before.
So
I've not even heard of it. And I read the bottle and I saw it was bourbon finished. And I thought,
we'll give that a shot.
We'll give that a go. And
okay.
and came back with the bourbon. Not bourbon, with the scotch. Finished in a bourbon. And
stop giving it away! We need to finish what we're having now, and then we'll come on to it.
Okay. Needless to say, I had to go back for the coriander. I got distracted. I didn't get the coriander on the first trip.
You serious?
Yeah.
That's my man.
I got the whiskey, went and paid for it, left the shop.
All right.
I go back for the coriander.
I approve of this. Yeah. I approve of this. All right. Okay. I've got another one for you. With your sherry preference, do you know what you prefer out of Oloroso or Pedro Menes? Or you're not sure yet?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. The other reason I say that is because the Glendronachs, depending on the age that you get, depends on which one they tend to favour more. Oh, okay. So the 12, I think, favours the Pedro Menes more. The 15, they start to have a little bit of a higher portion of the Oloroso. The 18 is pure Oloroso, and the 21 is pure Pedro Menes.
Okay. Interesting, they switch when they get to the...
I don't know why.
The top. Okay.
Oh, Paul's got a bottle of the 21 now.
Oh.
If you're up there.
I don't think I've had the 21. I've had the 15 and the 13 and the 18
You've had the 18 with me. Have you had the 8?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. This is going to turn into a very alcoholic day. I'll get you to try the 8 later as well. The 8's good. It's a bit weird.
At some point I've got to drive home.
Oh yeah, it'll be fine. We'll be fine, don't worry about it.
That point should be still today.
Oh, you didn't specify that. That's disappointing now.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes, exactly.
So I've got a question for you now.
Alright, I'm ready.
So, we've talked about the Texas whiskies and the Scotch whiskies, and I know Japan are doing some whiskies as well. I've got one of theirs. And I know you mentioned in your episode with Josh that they're doing some interesting things, but you didn't talk about it.
Oh, you're right, I didn't, did I?
No.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we might come back to that. But does anywhere else make whiskies besides Texas, Kentucky, Japan and Scotland?
Yes. In recent years, there's been a lot more places that are coming up with whiskey.
Okay.
There's been some English distilleries that are coming out now. This distillery, The English, they've been around, corrections bar, I think about 10, 15 years or so.
Okay.
Corrections bar, I think I'm way off on that one. I think I am.
I'm just making stuff up.
If you watch the second episode, I am in places. Paul catches me off guard so many times. I'm like, he basically goes through the whole history of whiskey with me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so hard in places. I couldn't remember dates and stuff. Anyway, Taiwan has got a very good whiskey called the Kavalan. Kavalan or Kavalan? I can't remember how you pronounce it. I think it's Kavalan over Kavalan. Anyway, and
do you know the story behind the name?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
I know, sorry.
I know I said that like I did. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. No, I'm just curious because it didn't sound like a Taiwanese name.
I think it might be Cavalan. So I think it's pronounced Cavalan.
Okay.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. They are doing some really good stuff, and they've been around for a while. They've been in the scene for a big time. But something that they've got to their advantage, where you've got like Texas, for example. Oh, it's an advantage and a disadvantage. But advantage if you want to release a lot quite quickly. They don't have to wait 10 years because they have such a hot climate.
Yeah.
They can release stuff quite fast. But what they're doing is they're playing about with a lot of different finishes. So they do a port cask finish, which is beautiful. I think out of the port cask finish whiskies I've had in my time, that's one of my favourites. Just whatever they're doing with it, however they're blending it, it's pulling so much from the port cask. It's beautiful. They do a range. It's called the Solist range, where they're buying in barrels, so like wine barrels or sherry barrels or bourbon barrels, and they're bottling them and they're releasing them at cask strength as a release. And some of them are spanking. I had a couple of really good ones in the vault in Texas, and they blew me away. They're a distillery to look out for. They are very good. Very good.
And does that make them a Scotch?
No, you can't be Scotch. They're in Scotland. They're Taiwan.
So are they just a whiskey?
They're Taiwanese whiskey. Yeah, they're just whiskey. They're Taiwanese whiskey.
So there isn't a name for a whiskey that is neither a bourbon nor a Scotch. It's just a whiskey.
No, it's just a whiskey.
Okay.
It falls under the definition of whiskey.
Okay.
Obviously there's Ireland as well. That's got a good history of a few hundred years now as well. You've got England, Canada, of course. There's a lot of Canadian whiskey out there. Although unfortunately the stuff that gets exported doesn't ever seem to be their best stuff. They seem to keep it all for themselves. I don't blame them, but a bit of a shame. I'm trying to think who else. I think there's a New Zealand whiskey that's come out recently as well. Okay. There's a distillery down there. But there's distilleries opening up everywhere. Oh, how could I forget? One of the biggest places for whiskey is India.
Really?
I've only ever had 2 Indian whiskies. They weren't very nice.
So, what makes them one of the biggest places for whiskies?
They buy a huge volume. They have one of the highest purchasing amounts of whiskey in the world.
Indian-made whiskey, or
whiskey in general.
Okay, so we're not talking about making whiskey.
Oh no, they do make whiskey,
okay.
But whether they make it or whether they source it and
so you're talking
blend
consumer
it and
level
stuff.
buying.
Yeah, they're consumer level. They're one of the highest in the world. Consumer markets. Bizarre, right? You wouldn't have thought it.
That explains a lot of the driving over there.
It does, yes. Yes, it does. But yeah, so but they're releasing stuff as well. Yeah, the 2 I've had weren't amazing.
Okay.
It's a shame. I kind of wanted them to be nice, but they weren't that great.
So why is it you think that America, particularly places like Texas and Kentucky, and then Scotland, are kind of like the major whiskey areas?
Well, Texas isn't.
Oh.
Texas only's got 10 years of history to it now.
Oh,
no, a bit more than that. It was maybe 12 or 13 years now. They have a very short history at the moment. Okay. They're just making a good name for themselves because they've had a couple of big distilleries that have opened up. Well, Balcones is one of the oldest. They were the first Texan distillery to release something. They weren't the first set up. Garrison's Brothers was the first to set up since Prohibition, but they were first to release something since Prohibition. Okay. So, and since then, there's been more distilleries opening up. Iron Root as well, Crowder Barrel, because they're doing some awesome stuff, and they're being completely transparent with what they're doing. Treaty Oak, Real Spirits. There's loads of distilleries opening up that are just really good quality. Other states are starting to see a bit of a resurgence. I think there's one. California, I think, is starting to open up a couple of distilleries, which is traditionally wine country. But they're kind of... So, America's got its history from Scotland, basically, where people that were moving over to America then started to make stuff in America anyway, whilst they were there, because they thought, hey, let's go for this.
Yeah.
So I think it's more you've just had this history of whiskey being made in Scotland and Ireland for so long, and then it's kind of exported out of there. That's kind of it.
Okay.
But even Japan's history of so they've got a 100-year history of whiskey. But the two guys that basically set up Japanese whiskey, they were both trained in Scotch distilleries.
Interesting.
So they were trained in Scotch distilleries, but they wanted to go back to Japan to make Japanese whiskey. Ironically, I can't remember their names. But if I attempted their names, it would go horribly wrong. So I'm not going to attempt their names. But the two of them, when they went back to Japan, they had both very different ideas of what they wanted to do. So the first guy wanted to make effectively what he had learned, which was Scotch in Japan. And the other guy wanted to make a new Japanese whiskey based on what they have. And they had a huge disagreement. And of course, because it's Japan, they ended up still working together for the next 20, 30 years anyway. But they still had a huge disagreement. And then they split. And then that's like Suntory and Nikka.
Oh, yeah. The two major
They
Japanese whiskey
were the
brands.
first ones that split. It came from them.
Oh. So what did they make for the first 20, 30 years? Was it more like a Scotch?
It was more Scotch that they were making at first. It was... No, it wasn't. I stand corrected. The guy who wanted to make the more Scotch approach got shut down by the other guy because the Japanese market at the time wanted a more delicate flavour. Because Japanese whiskey tends to be more of that delicate flavour. The guy that wanted to do the more Scotch-based stuff wanted to make stuff like the Islers, the real oily, heavy stuff. But because the Japanese market wasn't gonna be ready for it, they didn't go for it in the end. Obviously, eventually they did. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Good question.
Thank you.
Yes.
And now I feel that much more educated.
Change places?
Sure. Mine seem to be going down faster than yours.
Sorry. Why am I apologising? It's still my whiskey, regardless.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't have either of those bottles.
No, you don't. It's a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah. For now.
For now, yes. Oh, do you know what we still need to do? We still need to do the brimstone brisket.
Oh, yeah. That would be phenomenal.
I mean, it's going to be expensive, but yeah. We still need to do that.
Do we know anyone with a smoker?
I thought we were going to make our own.
Oh, we're going old school.
I thought we were going to be proper old school. Let's make our own, even if it's a one-use job. Make our own.
Yeah. We could do that. I've got a big enough garden for it.
Exactly. Can make it work this summer.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Do it.
We'll film it.
You're going to bring them?
We'll film the process. Come along. It's going to be your house anyway.
Oh.
You should have thought that through, shouldn't
Yeah. We know I don't like people.
True that. Neither do I, though.
You guys stay there behind the camera.
No, don't. Come along to his where we do the brisket. It'll be brilliant.
Get a big brisket.
Right, let's do it this summer. Let's do it. Because we've been threatening it for the last couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
Let's actually do it.
I'll find the brisket, you bring the whiskey.
Ideal. It'll probably end up being a similar price.
Yeah. I said that hoping I'd get the cheaper bit, but
I don't
actually
think
I don't think I will.
But here's the thing. How many bottles do you think we'll need? Is one going to be enough, do you reckon?
How do you want to... Do you want to marinate it in it, or just add it in with the smoker? At what point?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'd have to do some research. I've not smoked anything like that before.
Oh, fair enough. I'm leaning towards a marinade. But would you do that before you smoke it or after you've smoked it?
Why not both?
So would you do it before you smoke it and after you smoke it?
Yes.
Yes.
But you wouldn't marinate it in just the whiskey. You'd destroy
you would need
other things.
Other things, I'm not sure. Or would you want to do it as part of the smoking process so it burns off the alcohol but keeps the flavour behind?
I mean, we can try and soak some of the wood in it, but I wonder if it would really smoke.
Good point.
We could put a couple of soaked pieces of wood
in
there with it.
And see what happens. Yeah, we can make it work.
But I think if you soaked all the wood, it just wouldn't smoke.
Don't forget,
you'd steam it.
But don't forget, it's 50%, so it will ignite.
Yeah, but with there's still enough non-flammable liquid in there that it would not smoke in the same way you would from the wood, and you'd lose all the wood flavour.
Good point. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll play about with it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll do some test runs.
Well, yeah, we'll do some test runs. A can of beans. Isn't that be a little smoker? It's a small can. And a rasher of bacon as the meat to smoke.
Yeah, we'll try that.
Sorry, my mind's now gone on to this smoking. I really like the idea of this. I think we need to do it.
We're on the wrong podcast.
We are, aren't we?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we need to...
But we're doing it with whiskey, so it's fine.
Well,
and,
yeah.
And actually, if we're doing it properly, if we're going to do a proper smoke out to then do a proper outside meal, then there's another side to this that we're missing here, which is you get your old fashions whilst you're eating it.
That's true.
I don't think a brimstone old fashioned would work though.
No.
Too much.
Actually, no, it does. I've done it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, have you done the...
I did the Balcones Brimstone as an old-fashioned.
As an old-fashioned. What bitters did you use? Just regular?
Yeah, just normal bitters.
Oh.
I didn't have anything else.
Oh, fair.
I think it would be nice with like an orange bitters though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Ooh. Do you know what I was so disappointed was it makes an incredible smoky Coke.
It does.
It's okay, so smoky Coke is, if you've got, okay, this might be sacrilege to some people, but we find it amazing.
If you fancy a little bit of heathenism.
Yeah.
Even to yourself.
Even to yourself, yeah. I think it works best with Lafroig, I think.
I prefer it with brimstone, but that's because...
Oh, okay, but as
you get the rich sweetness.
Well,
I know
yeah.
you get the sweetness from the Coke anyway, but you get that richness that adds to the Coke.
So, smoky Coke, you get... Basically, as you would do like a Jack Daniels and Coke, but replace your Jack Daniels with, at the starting point, I would recommend Lafroig 10. Lagavulin 16 makes a good one. I'm not sure if you want to be doing a 60-year-old whiskey and you're a Coke, but up to you. And then one day we tried the Brimstone. Okay, so to get a hold of this in the UK, it's between £60 and £80 a bottle. It's not a cheap bottle in the UK. In Texas, it's cheaper.
What I would say about this is keep it strong so you don't just drown it.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
Don't do your normal like one shot in a tumbler of Coke.
60, like, 40, 60 being the Brimstone.
Yeah,
definitely.
The Coke is
that one.
Think of it like a spritzer on a wine.
It's like a shandy.
Yes.
Yeah. Just top it up. Yeah, literally. Yeah. Oh, it's painfully good. Like I tried it once. I was like, oh, go on, I'll give it a shot. Took a sip. I was like, no, it's too good. It's too good. Oh, I polished off that bottle way too quick after I discovered that. Oh, I've not bought a third bottle now.
Of Coke?
Yes. I had to think about that. Oh, Brimstone. Because I know if I start doing it with Coke again, I'll get through it way too quick. I know it's sacrilege, but it's so good. It's painfully good.
I wonder what it would be like with the Maker's Mark. You haven't got the smoky. It's not a smoky Coke
average.
anymore.
It'll be average, I reckon, with Maker's Mark. No more different than
normal.
Like a bourbon and Coke anyway. I suppose it would be your preference of what you want from the bourbon.
Yeah.
Again, Woodford I think makes a good bourbon and Coke. Because you've got that woodiness with the Woodford. Includes the name.
Yeah. Wild Turkey does as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Wild Turkey is such a good all-round bourbon.
Especially for its price.
And the 101.
Yeah.
And especially the 101.
I got the litre of 101 for like £32. For a litre, not the 70.
Was that like Costco?
No, it was from a drinks website.
No.
Like that. It's the same site I got the Balcones from.
Oh yeah, that's a good one actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a good one. Their shipping's quite a lot though.
It is, which is why I bought like 4 or 5 bottles in one go.
5?
Because the shipping is the same.
Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
It's like a one-off. It's about 12 quid or 7 quid, something like that.
But it's one-off.
But it's one-off.
Yeah.
So if you can get a couple of bottles, so you don't have to ship again.
Yeah, good shout.
I had a question for you, and it's now gone.
We'll be back after this short break. Okay, where were we?
I had a question for you, and I've now remembered it.
He's remembered the question.
After
Carry on.
So, when you're drinking a whiskey with Coke or some other kind of mixer, normally, you quite like Jim Beam and Jack Daniels when you're mixing them. I've watched you drink bottles of Jim Beam.
Jim Beam, yes. I prefer Jim Beam over Jack.
Oh, okay.
I will always pick Jim Beam over Jack. But yes, sorry.
I can't stand it. Either of them. Even mixed in Coke. And I feel like it ruins the Coke. I'm not being I'm not trying to insult Jack Daniels or Jim Beam.
Anyone thought I was snobby, that has been blown out of the water now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've got no problem with, if you like it, drink it. But I used to like JD and Coke when I was younger, and then as I got more into whiskies and stuff.
This is my fault as well. I've done this to
well, yeah,
you
people. Introduced me to it.
I did this to you. I did this to Paul. I did this to Josh. So Josh, so he didn't get it. Oh, this is now twice I've picked on him in episodes where he's not here. I am sorry, Josh. You can get your own back when you're back. But and Josh will admit this. Josh used to love JD Honey. He can't touch it anymore. I see that's a victory.
I tried. It's a really popular one. We haven't really answered that question. I'm not sure I asked a question.
We'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back to carry on with your point.
Fireball. I tried that. I saw one of Whiskey Tribe's videos, and they were talking about it. I think it was like their viewers' top 20 whiskies or whatever. And yeah, I tried it. I could not stand it.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I was wondering. No, it's horrible.
No, yeah.
It's cinnamon flavoured and I cannot stand it.
See, I don't mind cinnamon flavoured stuff.
Oh, see, I do.
But it was just so sick. And I thought JD Honey was sickly, but this was like something else. I actually quite liked the cinnamon note, but it was just how sweet it was.
See, that's what puts me off is the cinnamon. Okay, here's a question. So, but do you like Southern Comfort?
Yeah, actually I do.
So I like Southern Comfort.
So I have Southern Comfort, and I prefer it with lemonade over Coke.
Me too. I prefer it with
lemonade over Coke. If I was like drinking and mixing and stuff, then that would kind of be.
That's what. Yeah, to me, Southern Comfort is one you have that in a highball with some lemonade and some ice, and you sat out in the garden in the summer.
Exactly.
It's lovely. I have that instead of Pimm's.
Yeah.
That's probably why I get drunk so quickly in the summer. But anyway. So going back to your thing on.
Jim Beam and
Jack Daniels and Coke. Yeah.
So, do you get much of the Jim Beam flavour from it? Because I feel like it just dulls the Coke, and I'd rather have just the Coke.
Not massive. Okay, so here's where I have my preference. So if I'm mixing and I do Jim Beam, my preference of Jim Beam is to have it with Coke anyway. I very rarely drink it. If it's the regular Jim Beam, I very rarely drink it by itself.
Yeah.
I just like it because to me it gives the Coke a little bite.
Okay.
Is the way I describe it. But I don't like Jack because Jack feels like it's an artificial burn. To me, Jack Daniels is too punchy and ethanol-y, even though it's only 40%.
The ethanol-y is a big problem for me.
And that's a massive problem.
I find that with both of them, though. Not just JD.
No, which is fair enough. I just prefer Jim Beam over it because I don't get that as much.
Okay. Which is, I think, why I would mix things like Woodford or Wild Turkey with my Cokes.
And I would do that, but if I'm picking up a bottle, I don't expect it to last long. Yeah, to get sloshed. Yes, I was going to try and put it a little bit more diplomatically, but yeah, that would be what I would go to.
So my go-to for that is I sidestep and I go to rum. For mixing with Coke,
I'll
go for rum.
You go rum. Fair enough.
Or if I'm going like cheap and sloshed, if I do fancy a bit of a whiskey flavour there, and I'm not looking to end the bottle, then Woodford or Wild Turkey or
no, that's fair enough.
Or Makers even. Either of the Makers are good.
I think I've not done Makers 46 or Coke, but I think regular Makers and Coke is very good.
I've done 46. It was because I didn't have regulars, and you lose the specialty of the 46 in it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
It doesn't taste any.
There's something about the 46. It's just that little bit more. Just everything's a little bit more. It's a little bit more woody. It's a little bit more kind of dark.
It's more spiced.
Yeah. Even the wood spice is there more.
Yeah.
Just everything's a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good bourbon, personally.
Yeah, I do. I think that was my first go-to bourbon when I got into daily drinking.
Very responsible.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but when I first discovered my, I guess, first daily drinker, driver, sipper, however you want to.
It's difficult to get out of this, isn't
it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. It says a lot about you, doesn't it? I'll defend you on this. I know exactly what I mean. I have whiskies that I consider a daily drinker. I don't necessarily drink daily, but it's one that I would come to repeatedly. So, for example, even with these ones here, so Glendronach 12, that would be a daily drinker to me. The Lafroig Select, Glenlivet 12, although that has got a special place in my heart. But anyway, they would be ones to me that would be daily drinkers. Sit with the Ledig, the Smokeheads. They wouldn't be. They would be ones I would come to go, I fancy something a little bit nice today.
So what draws the line between a daily drinker and something like the Smokehead that needs something more special, like a Friday night?
I like where this is going. Cut to black. I'm kidding. I think for me, it's down to complexity.
Okay.
And yes, I realise how snobby that sounds. But no, legit, I think for me it would be how complex whiskey is. And even then, potentially how well I know it. So, I wouldn't ever... Okay, I wouldn't ever...
Switch back?
Yeah, go on. Change places. So I wouldn't ever claim that the Texas single malt isn't not complex. There's not the notes that you get with it. They're not overly complex, but it's one I can sit and come to all the time, and I know it very well. But I wouldn't have it as a daily drinker. Glendronach 12 is a daily drinker because I know it well. It is kind of complex for a 12-year-old, but I can come back to it time and time again. Highland Park 12, not overly complex. I can come back to it day and day. Ledig 18, there's a lot going on in that glass. That's one I want to sit and enjoy, and have the Friday night with. whereas something else I'd like sit and watch a film or something and quite happily sit and drink it. You don't have to think about it. I think there we go. That was a long way to get to. The line is one that I want to think about.
Yeah.
If I want to sit and enjoy something, that's my line. So, and that
and
tends to be
that peaceful moment,
complexity.
Garden summer, that sort
Exactly.
of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the special one. Whereas sitting and watching a movie, playing a game, something like that, drinking with other friends who aren't sharing the whiskey, and just chatting away. That stuff.
Yeah.
You go for the more daily.
Yeah, whereas we've had times where there's been a group of us and we brought out stupidly rare or expensive ones, but the
topic is enjoy that.
But the
whiskey.
topic is to enjoy that. So I think, in a very long way to answer the question, that's the divide. Is the whiskey matches the occasion for me.
Yep.
You're gonna drop that.
You gave me a metal coaster, which has zero friction.
Change places. Take the slate one.
Slate still hasn't got great friction. It's better.
It's better than that.
Better. Yeah.
Hey! He's
I
good.
always find when I say better, I feel a bit like Greg Davis. Better. I find myself saying it at work a lot. When they do better.
Yeah, fair.
Let's try that again. better. I feel a little bit patronising, but I don't mean it that way.
That's fair. All right. So this has come up now on the previous 2 episodes, and it's changed slightly per question.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask it to you, and I'm going to ask it the same way that I did to Paul. So you know how Paul and I a while ago...
Am I not special enough to have it different?
No, because I don't know your answer to this. That's why I want to know your answer.
Okay.
So we first touched on it with Josh. Paul and I expanded it in our episode. So what would you rather? A 30-year-old whiskey when you turn 30, or a bottle of whiskey that was bottled in the year of your birth? Now, the easy answer to that is if you find one bottled on your day, hands down, that's the one you're going for. So that's the start of the question. Would you rather a 30-year-old or one that was bottled in the same year? Doesn't necessarily matter on the age statement, but it's like a single cask that's bottled in 1992.
Okay.
You don't have to have an answer to that one immediately. That one you don't need because I don't have a proper answer.
I think I don't really want to celebrate turning 30.
Oh.
So I would rather...
That's probably the best answer so far.
So I don't think I'm going to care. Because you could have a 30-year-old whiskey that I just don't like.
True.
And now I'm just being old with an old whiskey that I don't really like. So I would rather...
Okay. Not turn 30.
A bottle that I really like. Even if it's not that hard to get, although the Harbinger's pretty hard to get.
You can't get it.
I know. But I'm 30 in April, so you better find one.
Oh, God. I'm going to need to travel. Oh, God, I'm going to have to go hunting. Okay, so let's change it. So instead of a 30-year-old whiskey on your 30th, let's say the bottle is... Even the Harbinger, even though it's probably not the most expensive one you could probably pick that you would enjoy. But let's say it would be a very rare one that you love and you adore. Harbinger probably fits it really well, actually. Would you want to drink it in the night? Or would you want to enjoy it over the year or over a period of time?
So that bottle would have memories attached to it. Because I'd get it on my 30th, which is a big birthday. I would open it that night and share it with those who enjoyed. And then I would not open it again until the next special occasion, whether that's the next birthday or, a wedding or a funeral or, something like that.
Yeah.
Not other people's birthdays, but my birthday.
Yeah, I agree.
My birthday or my wedding
That's right.
or that sort of thing. So I would keep it for special occasions.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay, fair. That was quite similar to Paul as well.
Because it wouldn't just be that bottle of whiskey. That would be the bottle that I couldn't get myself, that someone got me for my birthday.
That's right.
And then even wouldn't have to be that special if that person came for an evening, then maybe would open it then as well, because it's that memory with that person.
I'm gonna have to find this Harbinger. I'm on for a winner here. Yeah. I'll just give you mine. That's the most of it's full anyway. I've opened that a handful of times.
Yeah.
I think the only time I've opened that when you've not been here is once. To have a pour. I think every other time you've been with me when I've opened that.
There we go. It's already becoming that bottle.
It basically is. Okay, but so my thing with Paul was, and for me it was the 30-year-old one. Mm-hmm. So, for example, Longmorn 30 years, a 30-year-old Longmorn. Everyone should know by now I'm a Longmorn fanboy. Sorry. That would be one I would open on my 30th, but I'd want to personally finish it before I turn 31.
Okay.
So I'd want it to be for my 30th year. So, as we said in the other episode, and another example would be, let's say you can find a 30-year-old whiskey that is a little bit more price accessible. Or a special occasion whiskey that's a bit more price accessible. I like the idea of this story. You have your fantastic bottle. There's 5 of you around. Let's finish it tonight. So I wanted to see what you would think of that.
See, that would be good, provided you're
It wasn't the
spending...
Harbinger that you can barely find again.
Yeah.
Okay,
But,
I get it. I'm going to get you the Harbinger. If I can find it in the UK again, I'll get it for you. I get the hint.
The other thing I would say about that is on your birthday, are you spending that night with just 5 people who all really love whiskey as well? Because if you're not, that wouldn't work so well.
I would say if it was that scenario, the scenario to finish it, that would be the scenario.
Yeah.
Would it be you've got 4 or 5 of you there? Let's make this a real experience.
Yeah.
And there's 5 of you. You can maybe get 3 or 4 pours out of it each. I know I'm repeating myself from the last episode. Even if by like the 3rd or 4th pour, let's say you get 4 pours each, but the 2nd or 3rd, someone goes, "Should we try it with Coke?" Do it.
Yeah, because it's part of the story.
Exactly. To me, it's part of the story, and I think that
I'd be like, let's turn it into an ice cube. We'd have to do some sciencing to figure out how to freeze it.
Liquid nitrogen. It can't freeze. It will only partially freeze. It'll be like a slush puppy.
No, alcohol can freeze, just not at 0.
Yeah, you have to go. Yeah, I know that, but But even modern freezers won't get it frozen.
No, so we need liquid nitrogen.
So we need to science the shit
Yes.
out of this.
You could also freeze it through compression and cold.
Okay.
Possibly. Water doesn't work that way. Water's a bit different.
Or can we make it a slush puppy?
Maybe. Yeah.
That could work.
But if you have an ice cube, then you can put it in the glass and have a pour of a different whiskey, and then you have a weird blend which gets more blended as it melts.
Oh, I think I've got to try this just with a regular whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some research into that. I like this. This is a good shout.
Yeah. Step 1, figure out how to freeze a whiskey.
Whiskey to an ice cube.
Yeah.
Within a fairly reasonable way. Okay, fair.
Fairly reasonable. Crush it under nitrogen.
Okay. Okay. I like this. No, so yeah, I just wanted to know what your opinion on that one was.
Yeah, I think I would rather have the bottle for more special occasions.
And that's what Paul was looking towards as well. And I totally get it. And I think, for me, again, repeating the other episode, for me, it is...
that story of that night.
Yeah. But it would be dependent on the whiskey. There are a few of them where I'd go, no, I'm keeping this for the year. This will be my 30th year whiskey. And that would be occasions through the year. So somebody else's
So you'd still
birthday
finish
maybe
it by
I'd
the
bring
end of
out.
the year?
Yes, I would finish it before I turned 31.
Yeah. Okay.
But it would be occasions through that year I would drink it. Take it to a crag and send something awesome. And
what did Josh say to that?
Pull out a hip flask with it. Oh no, Josh didn't. We didn't get that far with it with Josh because we were just working on the principle of what would you prefer, a 30-year-old or one bottled in the year. We didn't go that far. So next time he's on the episode, we'll ask him that and see what he comes up with. Because I'd be interested in his.
What do you reckon he'd say?
I'm not sure. This is now the second time this episode that we're picking on him.
This isn't picking. This is speculating to his mind.
Yeah, but it's us. We're going to pick on him in a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet.
I'm just preempting. I don't know, actually. I think he might lean towards what you and Paul are saying of he'd want to enjoy it for the special occasions through the year or through a period of time. I'm crazy with the whole, like, I think because I've been since I've started to really fall in love with whiskey again and go to places and do things and start the channel and things like that, I've been very spoilt with what I've tried and what I've had. And my price levels on what I would buy and find willing to buy would make some people just absolutely gawk, and they would be like, so I've got bottles that I would consider very easy to buy and nice to buy that would be 60, 70 quid. Now, grand scheme of things, for a bottle of alcohol, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, although that doesn't make me flinch. It's the multiple hundreds that is where I reach my life.
And I was about to say,
that's going to be.
I have
quite
a few that are in that multiple hundreds or over the 100 bracket. That, again, I haven't really batted an eyelid at. That I've just gone, I know I'm going to love this, so I'm going to get this. So I know that my threshold of how much I'm willing to spend is way higher than certainly you and Paul. Actually, maybe not Paul anymore. I think he's getting close to me now on some of the ones he's got. With a Parliament, it's like 120 quid.
But
He's got a few that are expensive.
I think my thing is when I'm spending that kind of money, I'd want to already know I'm going to love it.
And I agree with that.
So if there was a Balcones that comes out of that, I know they're around the 100-ish mark for most of them, and I don't bat an eyelid to those ones.
Nor do I with Balcones.
Because I know I'll love every Balcones.
And the other side of Balcones that you're also paying for the fact that the distribution is so limited. Yeah. So the fact that we're getting it in the UK full stop is incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So like, I don't bat an eye at that. But if you suggested there was one for 150 and I've never tried it, and all I'm going off is the test notes on the blurb.
Fair. See, I don't even do that actually. The ones that I've bought that are in that bracket, I know I already like. With a minor exception, the Optimal. So the Octomore I've got...
I've heard a lot about that before.
I was about to say, the Octomore I've got is the 10-year-old one. Mm-hmm. Every other Octomore I tried wasn't the 10-year-old one, it was one of the 5-year-old ones. So I'd only ever heard good things about the 10-year-old one.
And you knew you liked the 5, and they'd be similar.
But...
Yeah.
Again, it was an educated decision. So yeah, I'm with you on that. But then at the same time, but I found whiskies that are hundreds and hundreds. Like they're like Longmorn. Sorry, fanboy, I know. Their 21-year-old is £410.
But you've
which
had
is an
it,
obscene amount of money. Yeah, it's very good. I don't actually think I'd pay that for it. But I've seen other ones that have maybe been single cask releases or stuff that are in that price range. I haven't.
But then you're sort of buying into the story a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't bought those ones yet.
And the uniqueness.
The most expensive one I own at the moment is the Black Art, which is
mine.
No, it is very expensive. I'm not gonna lie, but it's one of these ones where the question of diminishing returns for me does not kick in with that bottle.
Okay.
It's a 26-year-old, full life in sherry casks. Well, you've had it. You know how good it is.
Yeah.
It's insane. So the price point for how good the quality of that whiskey is,
don't brought to mine.
Yeah. It's in the similar tint to this. It's black.
Yeah.
Black.
I know the one you mean.
It's beautiful. Easily one of the most complex sherry whiskies I've ever had. Easily.
Okay, so compare it to another sherry whiskey, like the Glendronach 21.
It's miles above.
Yeah, is it that much more above in terms of the price cost?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes, but I am mildly biased towards it because I love it so much. Would you say it's double and more again in the price point of the 21? Would you say it's double that good? No, but it is markedly good. Markedly more in terms of the complexity to it. It's so good.
I think there's that sense in everything though.
It
depends on what's important to you.
There is.
Someone who's really into cars, the difference between a 10 grand car and a 20 grand car.
Absolutely.
To someone who just wants to get from A to B and they want the comfort stuff, you can get a lot of comfort stuff in a 10 to 15 grand car now.
Absolutely. Or you could spend 40 or 60 grand on a Beamer.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think I think maybe the difference is cars are maybe... It's a good example, but it's also maybe not because there's a luxurious element to it. Whiskey's
with whiskey.
I know, but it's a slightly harder thing to justify with... I find, anyway. Here's a good example of a whiskey which I wouldn't...
Why is it harder to justify? I'm curious. Because once you've got a car that gets you somewhere and keeps you warm, dry, comfortable...
Whiskey doesn't really do anything other than you just enjoy it.
Yeah, but so is everything after that warm, dry, comfortable, and it works stage of a car.
Valid, okay, yeah.
Anything you spend more on from there
is down to your own personal luxury.
Just something to enjoy, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. You've won me over. I don't mind spending money on whiskey anymore. Not that I ever did anyway. But
the same can be said for anything. You know, a TV. Someone who will spend... Look at your TV compared to mine. You're really happy with one of my old TVs.
I was going to say, it's your TV.
I know, but compared to my current one.
Exactly.
So you're very happy with your older TV, hasn't got fancy features. The picture quality's fine,
Yeah.
but it's not outstanding like modern flagships.
I see your point.
So for you,
But I would
that is
spend
absolutely
money on
fine.
a
Exactly.
couple of bottles, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd spend that money on that. Whereas for me, I want that crisp picture, the detail, the fancy features.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a tech head. So, but I don't need any more than what you've got.
No, that's a
So
good point.
everything I've spent above
That's a good point.
you, and I gave it to you for free, so you spent nothing.
He says for free. This is very true. What you don't know, as the casual observer, is there's been years of him getting free whiskey off of me. This is one of those occasions where not only has he got the Texas single malt, he's got his favourite, the Harbinger, out of me for not a penny.
Yeah, this is true. But the point stands, it's for... Yeah, we're both empty.
Yeah, we've got a problem.
Is it time? I've lost it.
What do you mean you've lost it?
I found it.
Guess whiskey.
Yes.
Please introduce
So,
it.
I may mispronounce this.
Far away. Don't forget to show the camera. I don't know why you're showing me.
Because I need to read it.
Oh.
And I can't read it.
You can read it on the back.
Yeah, but they put it on grey.
Okay, show it, then turn around and read it yourself. I can't believe I'm having to explain it.
It's the Taliban Sovereign. How is the pronunciation?
I'm going with that. That's quite
Yeah,
good.
okay. So, this is a single malt scotch matured in bourbon barrels. So there's the bourbon trend.
There's the bourbon trend.
Yeah.
Where's it from? Is
It
it?
is on here.
Is it? No. Is it Highlands? Is it Speyside? What is it?
It is in Blackford. So I don't know. Is that
Highland.
Highland? Yeah, Highland Gold.
Highland.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a Highland.
Do you want me to read the blurb thing?
I still have an
Seems
empty
interesting.
glass.
You want me to pour it first? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I have an empty glass.
Okay.
And the guest
we
whiskey
want-
has been...
The rich tones of the previous.
Say,
Do you want a new
yeah,
glass?
let me go off camera again and grab a couple of spare glasses.
Keep those to one side because I'm curious to try it with the old glasses. Okay, so that's one of the old ones.
Oh, you want both the old ones?
Well, no, we can have one old one. That's fine. I just needed to work out
Okay,
which were new.
Do it with the Harbinger one.
Okay, so in
Yes.
fact, while I pour, you can have a read. Because trying to read, whoever decided to write white on light
Oh,
grey,
I see your problem.
that was a
Oh,
terrible
wow, I see your problem.
decision with the
Ooh.
box.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is white writing on light grey. I do genuinely see his problem from earlier. So it's one of the oldest distilleries in Scotland. And they say that the history dates back to 1488. Oh, it's this distillery. Okay. So it dates back to 1488, and young King James IV of Scotland stopped by on his return for his coronations to purchase a beer from a local brewery. This was recorded in the first public purchase of beer. Oh wow, okay. And then it's kind of sprung up from there, and this is the distillery that is kind of come from that region and kind of comes with that history. Wow.
When you lean back,
Sorry, pal.
When you lean back,
What am I doing?
move slowly.
Why? Oh, good idea. I'll pop that there as well. Good shout. I like that. Right, let's go into this. Let's have a smell. Ooh.
Instantly, you're hit with sweet, citrusy, lighter
Yeah. A kind of hawthorn.
notes. Yeah.
A little bit floral. Yeah.
Miles away from my rich, deep toffee
Yes.
bourbon.
Definitely.
And yet,
Oh,
when I
yeah.
tried it,
Much
it was
different.
really something special to me.
Yes, I'm kind of getting, and it's kind of like a lemon citrus. It's quite bright. It's pretty. There's a floral note in there, kind of a little bit of honeysuckle. I think hawthorn for some reason. I'm thinking hawthorn hedge. I don't know why.
I'm getting more of the honeysuckle than that.
It's just what it's making me think of. I don't know why.
Almost a little bit of like
a real
brandy cream.
Oh, do you know what I was about to say? I was going to say there's like a light caramel, but like a caramel cream, like Cadbury's caramel. That kind of really soft, gooey caramel, but it's very light.
Or like a creme brulee kind of
Yes. Yeah.
That like creamy caramel.
Yeah. Right, let's go in. Ooh. Ooh.
So you get all those nose tones in the first taste,
Yeah.
and then you just get that hit of like pine and lighter wood.
Oh, I was going to say. I was going to say. I see what you mean, but to me, it ramps up at the end.
Mm.
It gets lighter, but it ramps up.
Yeah, and it almost feels like that wood note lifts it.
It's quite oily. It's got in kind of like the mid palate area. There's a bit of a maltiness to it as well. That doesn't come out on the nose. It's
Not what you'd expect.
It's a lot prettier on the nose than it is on the taste. Did they give an age on it, or is this completely non-age? Oh, so it is just a non-age statement. Okay. Oh, and it's 43%. In case anyone was wondering. I see what you mean about be careful.
Yeah.
That's a bit precarious, isn't it?
A little bit.
Nobody move. I'm impressed. I like that. That's nice.
It was like a little gem I found in Sainsbury's of all places.
Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's.
Wow, okay. I like this. I think I need to pick up a bottle of it.
So they had a couple of bottles. That was the one that was matured in bourbon, so that's why I picked that one. But I've never had any of their whiskies before.
No, I hadn't heard of them until you showed me it.
No, I don't think I had until I saw the bottle.
Yeah, this is a definitely a new experience for me. Yeah, very nice. I am impressed, sir.
I thought you'd like it.
Good choice. Very good choice. God, it's really nice.
Going back to our previous conversation, so this bottle was about £40. So I didn't mind
bad,
the fact that I've never heard of them, and I'm just going off the tasting notes.
Yeah.
But if that was like 60 or 70 quid, I wouldn't have touched it without having anyone recommend it first.
Well, okay. So that maybe leads on to another one. Where do you think is the diminishing returns for you personally? At what price point is it no longer worth it? Do you get diminishing returns? Is it no longer worth it?
So I think
For
I
you?
don't really... I haven't spent more than 100 quid, let's say, on a whiskey. I don't think I've broken the £100 barrier
Fair.
on a single bottle.
Fair. Or multiple.
Oh, yeah, that's a
One
different
shot
story.
before you've done that before. Oh, we've all been there before.
Yeah.
I'll get that one, that one.
But I don't flinch at spending that if it's a bottle I know I like or someone who knows my taste like you recommends.
Fair.
I think once you reach the 200 mark, that's where I need to try it first.
Okay.
Even if I spend 20 quid for a taste in a bar somewhere in a vault,
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
then at least I've spent the 20 quid and I've decided
And
I
you
like
know.
it or I don't, and then is it worth it for me to buy one?
Fair. So what about the Optimal? You've had the Optimal. You're not massive peat head, but you
No,
liked the Optimal.
I did like it, but I think partly
that
because I'm not a massive peat head and I
Kidding me? It's one of
prefer...
the highest peated.
No,
in the
I'm
world.
not a massive peat head.
Oh, I see.
Not
But
the
it's one of the
Optimal is.
highest peated.
It is, yeah. And I did like it.
It's amazing.
But because I enjoy a bit of peat, but a lot of the time I would rather something like the Harbinger or Balcones.
Which is fair.
I would rather, for that money, have
Okay.
2 bottles of Harbinger and a bottle of Balcones.
Yeah, that's probably fair as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Harbinger's not that expensive either. You just can't really get it here.
Well, when I got it, I think I paid 70 quid for it.
Yeah. So it's slightly less than the Balcones.
No, I was going to say, now that as a price point for a bourbon in the UK is a lot for a bourbon, but considering how hard it is to find, actually it's not that much.
Yeah. And I don't really consider the price to whether it's a bourbon or a scotch or a whiskey.
Oh, I do.
I just think, do I like it and is it worth it to me?
Oh, so that's interesting. I do have a diminishing returns point, and they're different from bourbon and scotch.
Interesting.
There's a price point on bourbons I won't go past.
Okay.
That's 160. I won't go past 160 on a bourbon.
And why is that? Where did that rule come from?
purely from my experience of trying bourbons. The most I've ever spent on a bourbon is the Harbinger. Did the Eleanors count? I mean, they were $50 each.
They were for each bottle.
What was that?
I don't know.
Okay, that was weird. Sorry, everyone. I don't know what that sound. I'll edit that sound out. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So
you're asking if the Eleanors count.
So the Eleanors count because you can only pick them up from the distillery, so it involves a flight to Texas.
No, I think we're paying for the liquid only because you still had the experience.
Okay, because that would be arguably the most expensive I've ever bought. So from ones that I have tried, bourbons that I have tried, I get to and then look at the price of the bottles. Some of the spectacular ones that I've ever had, up to about 150. I think that then you go past the point of it's not worth it anymore for me with bourbon. For Scotch, I think my price point is maybe 400. Yeah, 400. Because I've had some outstanding whiskies that easily reach that 400 mark that I would gladly pay if I can find them. So I've also had whiskies that where the bottle price point is way higher than that. And I'm not convinced by some of them, but there are the odd outlier where I go, yeah. But for me, I think 400. Okay. Now I realise that is an obscene amount of money. I realise that, but for me with Scotch, I think that is my diminishing returns point. Is about 400.
Okay. I think for me, it's always going to be relative. So you have tasted a lot more different whiskies, and at that higher end. I think for me, the one we mentioned earlier, Black Art, and then your Macallan would be the two most expensive whiskies I've tried.
On bottle price point, yes.
Yeah. When it came to the Macallan's
good.
It's good, and I enjoyed it.
There are better ones for less.
But exactly, and so when I went out, I was still after having that. It's a different whiskey entirely, but the Harbinger still takes my pick.
Fair.
Any of the Balcones still take my pick over that. Macallan.
Yeah. Macallan's...
So the Macallan was great, but I would not spend that money on a bottle of that when I could get two
Harbingers.
Balcones.
Two Balcones. And now that I agree with.
Yeah.
That I agree with. The Macallan for me, you're paying for the name and what the bottle is, as opposed to how good the bottle is.
And obviously everyone's got their different tastes and preferences. Yes. So for me it is, can I get something similar, or even if it's not similar, something I would enjoy more. So if I had the Macallan next to the Harbinger, I don't think I would ever pick the Macallan until the Harbinger had run out.
Do you know what? I might agree with you on that one.
And if I wanted something a bit lighter,
it would depend on what mood I'm in.
I actually prefer this.
Yeah, but the Macallan isn't light. The Macallan's big, punchy sherry.
Oh yeah.
What I would say is better than that Macallan, and is cheaper, but not by much. Is the Glendronach 18?
Okay.
I think that for a sherry whiskey, Glendronach 18 is one of the, for me, because I prefer an Oloroso cask, is one of the more outstanding sherry whiskies you can have. Doesn't beat the Black Art. Oh, the Black Art, hands down.
The Black Art's an interesting one because it's quite unique, isn't it?
Oh, it's a sherry whiskey through and through, but it's so complex.
Which you don't really get from anywhere else.
No.
So if
I find sherried whiskies can be complex in the number of different fruit notes you can get out of them. I would say peated whiskies and older peated whiskies are more complex in general. The Black Art to me is something special in that every time I've gone back to it, I find something new. I still find some of the same stuff again, but I'll find something new every time I go back to it.
And that's what makes it unique to you.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it worth that money.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
And so if you want that experience, because it is more than just a taste, it is an experience.
100%.
So if you want that experience, then you put that value on that experience.
Yes. And I fully agree with that. That there is definitely a level of whiskey, and I think this is true with everything in life, where there is a psychological impact of how good is the experience that goes with it. If you tart it up and you sit with friends and you put on some fancy music and you light some don't like candles. I don't know, but if you sat in big leather chairs or whatever and you're all wearing a shirt and a dinner jacket or whatnot and you make it fancy, you're going to make the experience fancy, so you're going to feel fancy when you do it. I mean, it's the whole thing about the glasses. How much difference does a glass like this make to... Actually, no, that's a bad question to ask. In terms of smelling, it makes a huge difference, but certainly the shape of them. You could get away with having this, the Nolan glass. The Nolan glass is this with a glass on the outside of it. Nolan glass does the exact same thing. It's designed for the smelling of it. But there's something about Glencairns. There's that the way you hold them. And I know I'm being snobby. I'm fully aware of it, and it's part of the charm of it. Sometimes he says, "He grabs it." Consciously grabs it, but there is something about holding Glencairn. It makes it that little bit fancy, which adds to the experience. And you are 100% right. The experience makes a lot of it.
And that's what you pay for it. And if we link that back to what we were talking about earlier with cars, it's the experience you pay for once you go past the necessity.
Of course it is.
The TVs is the same. It's the experience you're paying for.
Here's an interesting thing.
Okay.
I very rarely ever have my more expensive whiskies by myself. I will pretty much always get them out with someone else. I very rarely have them by myself. I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've had, say, one of my real rare ones where I've sat by myself and gone, "I'll fancy this right now." I like bringing it out with people.
And that's because that's your experience that you like. You like being that guy who shares and you like to enjoy with others.
Yes, I enjoy it
rather
with
than
people.
Sitting by yourself.
Like Gollum.
And that's nothing to say that it's wrong to do that if you're the person that likes doing it.
That's me personally. I do that. That's what I do.
And that's the experience you love. And you can link that to all sorts of money. We're getting into a bit more philosophical.
We are a
bit. But
it's true.
For anyone, we've all got our hobbies and the things we like. Yeah, you like sharing them, so that's your experience that you want, and that's what they're worth to you, rather than just sitting and drinking them. The worth is in the experience. This goes back to the whole thing that I was saying about the 30-year-old whiskey. For me, I like the memory. Or the story behind it. I think that for me, is the experience. It's the story. It's the shape of the glass. It's whether you sat around with the leather chairs. It's all for me. It's all of that with it. Okay.
That's a bit of a philosophical ending, isn't it?
It is a little bit. Well, it keeps the mind wandering. Food for thought.
Indeed. Drop comments in below what you guys think. Are we being slightly over pretentious, or do you potentially agree, just not necessarily with whiskey? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I think that's a good place to end it there. So we have to down these. You do realise.
Okay,
but we're going to do the... What? What are you doing? You have to... Oh, God, he's doing more.
Care for a talk?
No, I don't. I'm not down him that much in a one-up. Fair play. Okay, you brave man.
Well, I wouldn't do this if it was 100 quid.
Very quickly show the camera how much you've just put into that glass. That's a whole pour.
Yep.
Okay. You ready for the toast?
Yes.
Well, here is to fighting, stealing, and drinking. If you fight, may you fight for your friend. If you steal, may you steal love's heart. And if you drink, may you drink with me. Brave man. Cheers to you all. Thank you.